Welcome to this week's show of MBC Connect. I'm April Bragg with the Milledgeville Baldwin Chamber of Commerce, and today my guest is Matt Poyner with the Development Authority of the City of Milledgeville in Baldwin County. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today.
All right, Matt, so you've been with the Development Authority a little over a year now. Tell us what you've been up to.
Well, our primary job is to recruit businesses and to help the existing businesses that are trying to expand. So we reach out to these companies, we offer assistance, and we're the single point of contact for new industry coming to Baldwin County. So really, we're kind of that catch-all in trying to create new jobs and investment for Baldwin County.
Great. Well, I know we had an opportunity, the chamber members in the community had the opportunity to hear you present this morning at our Eggs and Issues breakfast on the BREP survey results,
Yes.
and that's Business Retention and Expansion Program. Tell us a little bit about what BREP is.
Well, BREP is a way for us to get out in the community and learn kind of the needs of our companies in Baldwin County, what their issues are, what they're facing, workforce needs, quality of life questions. It really allows us to get a better glimpse of what they are doing nowadays. It lets us get into the company, kind of get that one-on-one time with them to really understand what their needs are and how we can assist them.
What are some of the main reasons behind performing these surveys?
Well, regularly the State Department of Economic Development records that 2/3 of new jobs in the state and 2/3 of capital investment created in the state are from existing companies. So we want to make sure that our existing industries, those existing businesses that we have here locally are doing well. We want to make sure that if they are expanding, how can we assist them? If they have issues, how can we help them? So really it's kind of a way for us to really tie in and know what their needs are and how we can be of assistance as they move forward.
Well, and to that point, I know there are two of our existing industries that had recent expansions. Tell us a little bit about those.
Sure. Triumph Aerostructures, which is our it's the very wonderful company we have here locally. They're currently over 800 employees now. They've added within the last 18 to 24 months, 300 to 400 employees there. So they are continuing to grow and continuing to add new product lines. Zimmer & Shores, which is another local company, actually they are headquartered out of Germany. This is their only location in the United States. They have recently gone through an expansion or adding jobs, and we're working with them to add more jobs. So again, working with these companies, learning what they're doing, how they're growing is key to the community moving forward as well.
That's great. Well, I know so many times in your role, the Development Authority is sort of an ambiguous animal, if you will, from a community standpoint, because a lot of times people don't know what you do or think that your sole focus is to create new industry, which of course you and I both know that's the glamorous side of things. People love to hear an announcement, but with those statistics you just mentioned, obviously keeping our existing industry and allowing them and preparing them for growth is also a critical component of that. Tell us a little bit about the areas that the survey encompasses, the confidentiality. Walk us through a little bit of that.
Sure. One thing we do when we meet with these companies is that we make sure that up front they know that what they're telling us is confidential. We're not going to record, that certain companies said certain about the community or this or that, because we want them to speak openly to us. All the numbers we get are aggregated so we can get a good sampling size and be able to report that. But we talk about the background information on the company. One of the main components we discuss is the workforce. We want to know what they're seeing, what's the quality look like, or how do they can stack, their plant up to another plant in the southeastern United States that's part of their company brand. So again, we try to learn these questions, what they think about the community, any issues with government legislation. So it's a very wide encompassing survey, and again, it's about an hour's worth of time to sit in there and meet with these guys. So we appreciate them, opening their doors up for us, because I know, their job is to make money, and we're kind of getting in their way a little bit. But the flip side, we're able to find out issues that they may have. A couple of things went on in the industrial park. And this is very small and minor, but again, the ditches were clogged up. They weren't sure who to call. Well, we were able to get in touch with the city, and they came immediately and cleaned them out. And they were very grateful for that. So again, minor things like that are something that we find from these surveys. Another thing we found out was that our manufacturing council in Baldwin County has been dormant for 3 to 4 years. That is something that's very important to these guys, because it's best practices from our existing firm to firm to firm. So if one firm is doing something and they think it's working well, they can kind of share that thought with the other companies, because luckily our industrial base does not compete with each other. So they're open to sharing thoughts and ideas, and this is just another mechanism to get them together, to get them to speak with each other and learn what best practices are out there.
Sure, and I know that this is something that didn't just happen overnight, and you and I both work with fairly limited staffs, considering the scope of our mission and organizational direction. Tell us a little bit about how you went about this process. I believe it was about a 6 month
months.
process. How many interviews you conducted, and what kind of a team you assembled to help with that?
Yeah, our goal initially was to meet with 100 companies. We found out that there was approximately 365 companies registered in Baldwin County. We'd love to meet with all of them, but that just wasn't feasible with the resources we had at the time. But we met with 83 companies, 83 great companies, because we appreciate them, opening their doors to us.
Sure.
And these companies range from multinational global companies to your local mom and pop, from 2 employees to 800 plus employees. So we kind of felt like we hit the whole spectrum of companies, but we had a partnership with the Chamber, of course, with the University of Georgia Small Business Development Committee, Council Committee. We had Digital Bridges assisted us, the Department of Labor and the State Department helped with the surveys. And again, this was trying to work in schedules, so it was a very time-consuming process. To put, and to go even further is that once we get the data, we got to collect it. We got to start aggregating numbers and putting things together. And thankfully, Georgia College has interns with the Chamber that we were able to utilize to help put this together. So again, very thankful for that assistance. But it's a very involved process. It's something that doesn't happen overnight. And again, we want to get the most accurate, the most understanding, I guess, grasp of what's going on in the community. And again, a lot of stuff we reported are things that people know. But again, being able to pinpoint it and say, this is what they're saying, I think goes a little bit further in the dialogue of moving forward.
Absolutely. And one thing you shared at the Eggs and Issues breakfast was about, you just mentioned about the size of the companies, but also the history of the companies. Speak a little bit about that. I found that fascinating.
It was pretty neat. We found the average age of the companies we met with was about 42 years, been in Baldwin County. However, one of the companies that we've interviewed, it was established in 1890 here locally in Milledgeville. And then we had a global company that's been around since 1850, not in Milledgeville, but overseas. So again, we had a huge cross section of companies with age ranges and the time they've been in production. So it was very interesting to see that. And again, we met with companies that were started up in 2012. So we kind of got a very good cross section and really got an idea of what they're seeing and what they're thinking.
Great. Well, in our next segment, we'll check back with Matt and get some of the actual results and the areas of focus in the study. Stay with us.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And shelter pets make super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Quiet, please. Wait a sec. I'll take one. Oh, yeah. All right. All good. Take care. Way to go. Nice. Bring it on. Gotcha. I'm here for you. Oh, no. Please, please, please. I'm waiting. Interesting. Not buying it. Not fair. That's it. This conversation is over. Oh, brother.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things.
I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke.
Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back. When we left off, Matt Poyner was taking us into the BREP survey results. And Matt, let's just jump right in. First of all, I guess give us an overview of how these are measured or scaled so that the viewing audience understands the numbers that you'll be talking about.
Sure. The majority of the questions we asked, it was on a scale of 1 through 5, with 5 being high, 1 being low. So the way we figured out, a score about 3.5 and above, that's a good score for us. So that's how we kind of measure, a lot of these answers.
Okay, gotcha. Well, let's talk, first of all, I know you mentioned a lot of data about the types of businesses that you interviewed and the different business sectors. Tell us specifically what types of business sectors were represented in this survey.
We had several, high-end business, insurance agencies, our financial institutions, obviously our manufacturing base, consumer services, healthcare, retail related. That was the larger sector. So again, we try to get a big cross-section, big swath of the community, so we get different perspectives from different industries on how they're viewing their workforce or issues in the community.
Okay, well, let's dig into the results. I think one of the first questions on the survey was asking the company about their greatest achievement, and I think the answers were a little bit surprising.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting. Obviously, we all know that our current economy, where we are as a nation right now, is difficult, and so the fact that a lot of these companies responded that we're staying open, we're keeping the doors open, we're making payroll, that was, that's an accomplishment, because right now things are tough. We hear of a lot of downtrodden areas and things being difficult, and so knowing that these companies are fighting through, they're keeping going is exciting. And the second big response was growing companies. So obviously, we have a down economy, but on the flip side, we have companies that are growing through it. They're making payroll, or they're making the profits or hitting their goals, and they're expanding, adding new services. So again, it's two different dynamics. But again, the companies that are staying afloat, we're excited. We want to keep them going. That's good news. That's encouraging.
Absolutely. Well, I think that it demonstrates the fortitude and staying power of our existing industries and businesses here, that they recognize the importance of that and pride themselves in what they've been able to accomplish, because many of them probably could have easily retired and closed their doors with some of these small businesses, but their commitment to the community and to their business obviously speaks volumes. So I know you had some surprising numbers also with anticipated new products or services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the majority of the companies said that yes, we are going to institute some new services and products in the coming years, and that's encouraging, because if they were staying stagnant, they're not growing, they're not seeing opportunities. So the fact that they pinpointed that yes, we need to grow in this sector or this sector, and I'll say the majority of these companies are looking at the social media aspect, the e-commerce. How can they get more out there technologically and be proactive in that aspect? So again, seeing them wanting to grow, that's exciting. That's good news. It's better than the flip, which have been, we're sitting here not knowing what to do. So it was good numbers to see.
Well, good. Well, and I know that a majority of the data really hones in on workforce, which is something you and I both work very in-depthly with. Let's talk first about the availability and quality of the workforce and the results that you found there.
Well, one of the questions is the availability of the workforce, and those, with a high unemployment rate in Baldwin County, there are a lot of workers that are looking for jobs. On the flip side, we talk about the quality, and that's where there's some concern, because a lot of these people, those soft skills, those foundational skills, they don't have them. So they want to work, they want to come to work, but it's just it's not computing, and we're not getting the right workers for jobs. So that's discouraging, but again, it's something we can work on. We kind of, again, have a baseline of where we are. We know what we need to do going forward. We need to engage the colleges and the technical colleges and try to get these people ready for those jobs. There's a big gap right now between our skilled workforce and the not skilled workforce. And we got to try to marry that and get those people moving in the right direction.
Right. Well, and I know there was also information in there about productivity and comparison, whether it's to regional counterparts or if they have plants in other areas of the country or overseas. Speak to that for a second.
Yeah, that was obviously it was a smaller sampling, because a lot of the companies don't have other facilities outside of Baldwin County. But to see that number being so high is good, because in our industrial base, that workforce is crucial, and the majority of the companies we talk to, their industrial workers are number one, they're tops. If they do have turnover, they're filling jobs quickly. Excuse me. They have good people coming on board. So seeing that the productivity here locally is on par or better with their counterparts around the region, that's exciting. That's good news. That shows, again, we're growing, we're moving in the right direction.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about the sort of those common themes that kept coming up that were really outside of anything we would analyze from a data standpoint.
Right. the main thing that kept coming back was the boomerang effect. We have all this great talent coming to Georgia College, and they're coming, they're staying here, and they're going back to where they came from. We've got to be able to keep them here locally. And that's, again, one of our efforts in recruitment is to figure out what jobs these kids looking for. Obviously, there's a very good business school here, so some of these IT jobs, some of these shared service projects. So again, we're focusing our recruitment efforts on some of these companies to say, hey, look what we have here. We've got a great workforce. We've got skilled kids. They want to be in Milledgeville. They love the town. Let's give us a shot to work on this. And so, again, having that opportunity, having this workforce is crucial to us continuing to move forward.
Right. And then on the flip side of that, you also heard the exact opposite
Yes.
with the other end of the workforce.
Yeah, and again, that's going to be an effort with the community. I mean, there's lots of different answers and how we can build that workforce up, but we got to come together and figure out the right approach because we have a lot of people, that want to have jobs, that want to work, but the skill set isn't there. So we've got to really pinpoint how do we get them back into the job market? How do we get them employed? How do we get them, paying taxes, providing for their families? So it's a challenge. It's not something that's going to be easy. But again, as a community, we've got to band together and move forward and figure out how do we create jobs and how do we get these people in the marketplace to be able to function and to have jobs.
Well, and to that point, there's a partnership with GMC and Central Georgia Tech in an effort to help those who will be displaced at Central State Hospital to get their GED to move them into the workforce. But you also mentioned this morning about the Quick Start program that's offered in partnership with the Technical College. Explain a little bit about that to help with those skilled trained positions.
Georgia Quick Start is without a doubt the #1 training program in the United States. It's been documented, it's been recorded. They've compared different programs throughout the Southeast and around the nation. Georgia Quick Start is the #1 program. Triumph Aerostructures uses that right now. Basically what it is they're on site with you. They put the people through the training before you even get to the plant. So Triumph knows that if they got 25 people coming through there, if they all pass this Quick Start program, they're coming to the floor ready to work. There's not that build-up time of getting them ready. So again, it's a huge program, and we utilize it with several companies here actually that are trying to get their workforce up to par, up to speed. And again, it's a huge resource the state provides, and we ride it as long as we can.
Yeah, it sounds like a great partnership. And we come back, we'll find out the rest of the results from the BREP survey and also the call to action and how you as a community member can be involved.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Being a dad can be tough.
No. What do you mean she's not coming?
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
But when you're willing to do anything,
It is I, Cruz Zinkerbell. Okay, time for cake.
it's always worth it.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Welcome back. We're discussing the Business Retention and Expansion Program with Matt Poyner with the Development Authority of Milledgeville and Baldwin County. Matt, I know in the survey people had an opportunity to rate various services in the community and other agencies and support groups. Let's start with utilities and how that ranked.
Yeah, again, it was on a scale of 1 through 5, 5 being the highest. And again, across the board, we had great comments, great results. The water and sewer departments, both the city and the county, got good scores. Our power, with Tri-County EMC and Georgia Power got great scores. Our gas providers, telecom, voice. I mean, we had good scores. That's encouraging because again, if we had bad scores, we'd be trying to figure out what we need to do, how do we need to address this, and that's one thing we have to worry about.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of something that might not be quite as positive, but is a little bit out of our control, is you ask about their negative things coming down from government, whether it be federal, state, or local. Let's talk about some of those.
Yeah, we got a lot of excuse me, a lot of conversation about that. The top issue was Obamacare, how it's going to affect these companies,
Naturally.
and they're concerned. Dodd-Frank is going to be a huge issue starting January 1st of next year. Then some of our industrial companies talk about EPD regulations. They keep getting stronger and stiffer, and again, it's one of these things where it changes nightly. So again, there are some concerns there. So again, it's hard to work with them on that, but it's kind of the unintended consequence. We have to help them however they can. So.
And when you asked the positive from the government, what were their responses?
We had crickets chirping in the background for the most part. It was weird. I mean, they kind of sat there and said, really, anything positive? I will say a couple of companies mentioned deepening of the Port of Savannah. That's going to help with exporting and importing of some of our companies locally here. And a lot of the green regulations that the federal government's trying to get people to utilize. So again, those are the two main things, but it was resounding, no, nothing. There's nothing going on that they can help us.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in that, let's lead right into sort of an overall view of the results and the perceptions of quality of life and then strengths of the community.
Yeah, the police and the fire department got great scores. Healthcare, good scores. What was really encouraging about this whole process was that one of our questions is how do you rate the community? Just tell us what you think. And the over-resounding majority of companies were very positive, very excited about being in Baldwin County, and living in Milledgeville. It was great. So that makes me feel good about where we are heading forward. That we have these people that want to be here, they're investing here, they're growing their families here. So that was good to see. But again, across the board with our quality of life, what can you complain about? We got 3 colleges here. We got a lake. We got a downtown that's having a renaissance and development. I mean, this is a great place to live, work, and play.
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
Yeah, yes, it's encouraging. It's exciting.
Well, good. And some of the other strengths of the community that they mentioned. Do you want to go into detail?
Yeah, obviously, Georgia College Georgia College, but GMC and the Technical School. I've made this comment plenty of times, is that we are one of the few communities around, if not in the nation, with a population of under 50,000 people that has 3 institutions of higher education. That is unheard of.
Yeah.
And we work on that. We play off of that. Lake Sinclair, what a great recreation opportunity we have here in our backyard. And then that small town feel. A lot of these companies said, we have loyal customers. They come back. They want to work with us. We work together, and that's encouraging. That's exciting.
Yeah. Well, and too, speaking of that, our central location, and we are a regional hub, especially for retail, restaurants, things to do. So their base really is here and in the surrounding area. And then to the flip side, some of the barriers to growth that were identified, I think were very interesting.
Yeah. Again, it's the students that are going back home. We don't have a lot of jobs here. We've been hammered by job losses. We don't have a lot of industry here. A lot of our industry base has been taken away. Again, just kind of that perception of our public education system is going to be a challenge. These are things we can work on. We are working on. We're putting plans in place because the number one issue we need to work on is creating jobs. How do we help foster jobs? How do we help companies grow their jobs? And how do we become a place where people want to locate and build their families and build their businesses? So, these are issues we know about, but I think we're working in that direction where we can start seeing some fruit coming off those trees.
Sure. Well, and that leads to our call to action. What are some of the action items that have resulted immediately out of this, and then how can the community get involved?
Sure. One of the main things we heard of was that there's some, when you're dealing with the government, some of our local government agencies, there's some miscommunication going on. So we're working with the city and the county to create a how to start a business guide. Because locally we know what to do, but people that aren't from here, they're not sure. And so we need to be able to pinpoint A, B, C, D. This is how you start. This is how you get going. It's very small. It's very minute. But again, it's something that will help grow the businesses.
Sure.
Telecom stuff. There are some issues with some broadband services. Through the survey, we've talked to these companies, and they're addressing them as we speak. So over the 6-month process we've had these conversations going on, and last 3 months they started making upgrades on certain lines because there were issues. So again, that's encouraging to know.
And you shared some news on that with
yes,
some funding that was just
exactly.
recently received. Speak to that for a minute.
The state of Georgia, well, it's a federal grant. The state of Georgia received a large grant for rural broadband growth, you know, to expand on the lines. Middle Georgia received $5 million approximately, and Baldwin County got over $950,000 of that. So that's a huge amount of money we have to put into that infrastructure, to upgrade it, to help those people that either have no service or little service to get service. So that was exciting. That's encouraging. Again, it's helping us move forward and move that bar.
Yeah. Well, and I think you mentioned that it's the 10th largest disbursement in the state.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's tremendous. Yeah. That opportunity is here. Some of the other barriers that were mentioned, of course, we've talked about workforce and limited jobs, but with the community and the call to action, we mentioned how retail, we know how industries come in, but talk about the story you gave us about the retail businesses that were interested in coming here and why they didn't.
Yeah, this is actually a fairly depressing story. But a lot of these companies with the retail side, they will come in and they'll send spies in, or they'll come in and do some pre-work. And we've learned that we've lost out on some large steakhouses, large Italian restaurants that are very big chains that we want to have here. And they've come into town and they've met with the front end staff and these people aren't speaking highly of the community. And again, why do they want to come in and invest money if the workers don't even want to be here? So we've got to work on it. We've got to change that dynamic. We've got to change that perception. We've got to get people excited about Milledgeville and Baldwin County. We've got people that want to live here, that want to be proactive to grow the community, because it takes all of us. We're in this together.
Right. Well, and you and I have talked that that's an easy fix. I mean, we've looked at opportunities already for the Chamber and Development Authority to partner on offering some front-end training.
Right.
You know, it's a I Heart Milledgeville 101, if you will, for your wait staff and the greeters at the hotel registration desk and things like that. So those are ways that we're getting involved. Tell us a little bit. I know we just have a couple of minutes left, but we're embarking on a community-wide strategic planning effort, which I think is a perfect opportunity for the community to become engaged and invested in growing jobs. So let's talk about that for just a minute.
The sole focus is job creation. How do we create jobs? Right now, we got different silos working in different areas. We need to come together as a community, city, county, development authority, chamber, hospital, colleges. I mean, the whole town needs to get together and figure out how do we identify this? What are the main sticking points and how do we move forward? So I'm looking forward to the next 6 to 8 months on how we make this happen, because I guess being in my job, I have to be the ultimate eternal optimist. But we're on the cusp, and we just need to get some traction. We need to get some people moving in the same direction, and this community is going to take off. So I'm excited about the process. I'm excited about moving forward and what the future holds for Milledgeville and Baldwin County.
Well, thank you for being here and sharing with us. We will be launching the Community Strategic Plan at the Chamber's annual meeting on January 24th at Central Georgia Tech. More information is available on our website, milledgevillega.com, and I'll be sitting down with the chair of the Strategic Planning Steering Committee, Johnny Grant, former senator, who will explain a little bit more about that process in the weeks to come. Thanks for joining us.